Okay, it's working again. Test, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. OMG, what's going on, people? What's going on with the sabotage shenanigans here? Shout out to my man John Mongillo. Actually gave me a call. Called the number. The number works, people. If you want to be on the show live, you can call. 623-250-2986. My man John just called. Yeah, I don't know what happened. My streaming software just stopped streaming. Strange. Never happened before. Yeah, Joya thinks it's funny. Not funny. I think they just see. I think we messed up, people. Talking too much shit, and I think now they're just gonna start messing with me from now on. We must have said some bad words. Too many bad words, tripping the bots. Anybody? Hey, are they talking about the bots, the Russian bots in effect for the election this year, or what? Did anybody hear about the bots yet? Yes, we're back, people. Thanks. Yeah, we are back. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Strange. All right. Try and hurry up. Should I try and hurry up? It makes no sense. All right. Anyway, got all discombobulated. All right, I'm supposed to do. Let me do the. All right, everything looks good. Let me do. Let's do the intro, okay? Got all discombobulated. We didn't even do the intro yet, people.
This is the Pearlie Q Podcast. You're listening to the Pearlie Q Podcast.
Be sure to follow Pearlie Q on Facebook at facebook.com/PearlieQ.
Come on.
Core boy, sucker.
All right. OM Jizzle, people. Yeah, having technical difficulties today for some reason. I just don't know. All right, we're gonna do the best we can. So how's everybody doing? It's your man Pearlie Q in the building. It's the Pearlie Q Podcast. Election night. election night hype. What is going on? Like some of you who have already checked in haven't even looked. I haven't either. That's why I figured somebody was looking. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Heather says, hey, Heather, how's it doing? I mean, how's it going? How are you doing? How's it going? Heather says, I found the right live. No, we were live, and we weren't. We were live for a few minutes, and then we had to restart. So yeah, you checking in from the apocalypse? That's how's things? How are things out there? I'm hearing a lot of crazy stuff. TMZ was reporting Beverly Hills. You know, Beverly Hills Police Department have been, I guess, most of the week have been. They've brought in they've hired, I guess, mercenaries. No, they've hired like private security to add, like, again, for tonight. Basically, they've been, staffing. Kidding. and yeah, there's some interesting. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. Hang on. Beverly Hills, and you know how a lot of cities have been boarding up downtown. They've been boarding up, preparing for some craziness. But yes, Beverly Hills Police Department is doing the most. Let me see where. Good Lord, where is it? The hot sheets, man. They move fast on the hot sheets, y'all. Apparently, somebody, I guess we're supposed to care that Lil Pump is down with Trump. Oh, yeah, I guess he showed up at a rally. Good Lord. Is his music any good? I don't know. That's like maybe Sam knows. Is Lil Pump any good, Sam? No. Yeah, I don't. Teenager that the closest teenager to me said no, Lil Pump is no good. So I am, good Lord, what happened to the oh, good Lord, there's a lot of hype going on. Lil Wayne's girlfriend dumps him because of what do you guys think? This is what I mean. This is just terrible. Okay. This is why we call it the hot sheets. No, come on, I don't want that. My bad, y'all. I didn't have this ready. What the heck is going on? What happened to it? It's already buried. I didn't save this, so my bad, people. Beverly, let me see. Top stories, man. My bad. Hang on. Let me see. Let's just do Beverly Hills. My bad. It was, good Lord, I didn't know I'd get buried so fast. They're really on top of the shenanigans here. I should have known better. I should have bookmarked it. TMZ. I should have bookmarked it. Because, again, so, hang on, y'all. Okay, thank you. Oh, good Lord. Ay. Okay, so that's freezing up. Hey, Sarah, boy, hey, Hamden, Connecticut is on the check-in tonight. Hey, how's it going? First, my man John. Yeah, John says hi, Sarah. Yeah, we all went to school together. Sarah, her sister, Vivian, how's she doing? Her older sister. Yes, Vivian. Yes, you were the yes. Vivian was her older sister. The Cardona sisters. They were causing havoc back in the Hamden middle school, Hamden High School. They were causing havoc. That's funny. How are you guys doing? That's good. That's good. Sister's doing good. Great. I know. Yeah. You had another. Yes. And I'm sorry. I don't remember your oldest sister's name. But yeah, I'm glad everybody. I hope everybody's well. I was just saying earlier. That's the cool thing about Facebook. You know, that a lot of people I grew up with, you know, are able to check in. I hear from a lot of people from Hamden, so it's pretty funny. Yeah, that's great. All right, yeah. How do you say Isa? Is that an L or an S or an I mean? Oh wow, I thought I don't remember. Wow, I thought it was something different. I thought it was anyway, my bad, y'all. Good grief, what is going on here? Okay, here we go. This was the one I was looking for. So the Beverly Hills, now out of all of the police departments, and you guys tell me, out of all the police departments that should be like ramping up, like Beverly Hills doesn't come to mind to me. I don't know. I didn't know it was that, you know, I didn't know. Like they needed to ramp up, you know, and hire. They're bringing in other police. You know, they're bringing in more police from other departments, and like I said, they're hiring private security. It basically, you know, I guess there have been some protests there, and again, so in order to quell or discourage any shenanigans tonight, they've been rolling around, you know, in their armored vehicles and, you know, basically, you know, trying to intimidate people. You know, yeah, it says here, yeah, Beverly Hills show of massive force. Election unrest, good Lord. Nearby police officials say city's inviting violence. So yeah, let me read some of this. Like I said, I read a little bit of it earlier, but bulking up is what they've been doing. The Beverly Hills Police Department is mobilizing its entire force and a lot more. And they've been out showing what they've got every day since Saturday, much to the dismay of surrounding law enforcement agencies that think Beverly Hills is essentially inviting violence this week. The Beverly Hills City Council voted to pour $4.8 million into security just for this election. Wow. So they ain't defunding. What happened to defund the police? What happened to that? Yeah, they ain't on that defund the police hype train, are they? They said, no, we're going to spend $5 million just for the election. They have hired SWAT members from Santa Paula, armed private security companies, and additional equipment to protect the city and its 35,000 residents from violence. So I thought that was interesting. And of course, you know, with the when you add the tinfoil on top of that, is this some kind of precedent? Is this what we're going to start seeing? Again, Beverly Hills, like LA County, you don't hear, is LA doing anything like this? Detroit, Minnesota, you know, are they spending extra money, hiring more security, are, hiring private security? Literally, so they're literally hiring mercenaries. Beverly Hills. That's what private security is. That's another word for it. Very interesting. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? Oh, yeah, okay. I can't even pronounce that, Sarah. Oh, well, I must have never, I don't know. I don't remember. Like, I do remember your sister. I thought I knew her name. But I guess whatever I was saying, I must have, I don't know what I was calling her. Anyway. Heather says, I bet not one of those celebrities who willingly use their platforms to lead a revolution are in bed. Yeah, Beverly Hills, it's just strange. Beverly Hills. I guess they're afraid of people coming in to tear shit up, I guess. I don't know. But they're really doing, they're going all the way with it. Sarah's laughing at me. Yeah, like I say all the time here, I'm damn near 60 years old. It's a wonder I remember anything. I remember anything from 20 plus years ago, right? Heather says Minnesota has National Guard in some areas, have mercenaries. It really depends. Yeah. So, again, not looking, this stuff, doesn't make you feel too optimistic, does it? I hope, I just want the election to hurry up and be over. Okay, nothing's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna tear shit up. I don't see that happening. Again, well, not organically. I don't know. What do you guys think? I would hope people, I hope all this extra precautions and the boarding up again, I just hope it was, not needed. Let's hope it's not needed, right? Have you guys heard of any? I haven't heard of anything happening like that yet. It's 9 o'clock. Well, yeah, it's it's after midnight over on the East Coast, so I'm sure if anything like that was happening, we would have heard by now. But you guys let me know if you heard anything. I just asked John for an update. He said it's pretty close. They haven't called it yet. He said it's still too close to call as far as the election. So let me see. There was a there's a video. It's called The Jones Plantation. Okay? And it's basically a story that explains, the basic concept of what's going on today as far as, the democratic process, voting, right? It's a very good video. They're actually, and if you like it, it's on, all you gotta do is, it's on YouTube, Jones Plantation. Larkin Rose is the creator who did it, and they're actually gonna they actually just got done doing funding. They're gonna do a feature. They're gonna do a feature-length film based on this little short story. It's only it's a short story, so it's like 10 minutes long or something. But it's very interesting. So yeah, I figured this would be a good election night video here for you guys to take a look at. And yeah, you guys let me know what you think. Let's play it. The Jones Plantation by Larkin Rose.
Mr. Jones owned a cotton plantation and many slaves. One day he was talking to the owner of the plantation next to his, and Mr. Jones was lamenting the fact that times were tough. He was having to work his slaves harder than ever, and was having trouble with some of them being disobedient or trying to run away. The other plantation owner said he knew someone who could help.
Day 1.
One day, Mr. Jones called his slaves together so a man named Mr. Smith could talk to them. Before beginning, Mr. Smith whispered to Mr. Jones, "Whatever I say, do not contradict me or interfere, and I promise you your slave troubles will end." "My name is Mr. Smith," he said to the slaves, "and this may be the happiest day of your lives. From today forward, you will no longer be slaves, but free men." Mr. Jones was so shocked he started to step forward, but Mr. Smith gestured for him to remain silent. He did, only because the other plantation owner had spoken so highly of Mr. Smith's skills. "You are no longer the property of Mr. Jones," Mr. Smith continued. "You are free. No more would you be forced to labor for the benefit of Mr. Jones. Now you can work for yourselves." Now the slaves were all murmuring and looking at each other. Many were smiling, many were looking puzzled. "In fact, you are now free to leave the plantation whenever you want," Mr. Smith said. "However, since we are surrounded by other plantations, if you leave, some other plantation owner will likely claim you as his own the moment you set foot on his property. So I urge you not to risk your newfound freedom by doing something so foolish. Instead, I suggest that you stay here, no longer as slaves, but as willing participants and part owners of this plantation. Yes, this is now your plantation." Mr. Jones bit his tongue to keep from objecting. "For now, we might as well leave Mr. Jones in charge," said Mr. Smith, "since he is the only one with any experience at running a plantation, which is quite a complicated thing to manage. But he will no longer be your master, but just another worker on the plantation. In fact, he will now be using his organizational and management skills to serve you. Whatever problems you may have had with him before, you are now all equals, and you need each other to make this work. If we all cooperate and work together, we can all reap the benefits together. In honor of this happy occasion, I present you this new symbol of togetherness and cooperation, this flag, which shall be the emblem of the new, free Jones plantation." He held up the new flag, but most of those listening were still too amazed to respond. "And this shall be our motto," Mr. Smith announced. "We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all. To celebrate, everyone has the rest of the day off. Enjoy your freedom, do as you please, and be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, so that we may begin work on this great and noble new endeavor as equal free men." Finally convinced that Mr. Smith was serious, the former slaves applauded and cheered.
Day 2.
"We all want this plantation to do well," Mr. Smith said at the beginning of the next meeting, "so we can all share in the benefits. We all know that it takes a lot of effort to make a cotton plantation work. Just because you're all free doesn't mean you can stop working. In fact, since you're now working for yourselves, I expect you to work even harder than ever before, but now with pride and joy, knowing that you're working for yourselves. Of course, there still have to be rules. If everyone just does whatever he wants, the plantation won't produce anything. This experiment will fail, and we'll all starve. You should be thankful that Mr. Jones has agreed to stay on to lend his knowledge and skills to this endeavor, and I trust you will all do your own part to make this work. Several of you have been chosen to act as project supervisors to manage different aspects of the operation, to make sure everyone is doing his assigned job, to make sure that the rules are followed, and so on. The rest of you may head out to the fields to start your first day of work as free men."
Day 3.
The next morning, Mr. Smith had a grim expression on his face as the daily meeting began. "I have an unpleasant duty to do today," he said. "Yesterday, Charles was caught keeping some of the cotton he picked, presumably to sell for his own personal profit. That is against the rules. That is stealing. For that, Charles must be punished." 2 men tied Charles to the whipping post. "I take no joy in this," Mr. Smith continued, "but you must understand, if we do not maintain order, if we do not have rules that we all abide by, then the plantation will fail, and we will all suffer." The whip cracked against Charles' back. "But if we all pitch in for the common good, then we can all prosper. Being free doesn't mean you should be selfish and greedy. We must each do our assigned duties and obey the rules, and then we can all benefit, and each of you will receive your appropriate share of the profits." A young man named Samuel stepped forward. "But if you and Mr. Jones decide the rules and whip us if we disobey, how is that any different from what we had before?" "How can you say that?" Mr. Smith asked. "I'm shocked. You were a slave before, and now you're free. Things still need to be managed and organized by those best qualified to do so. Do you know how to run a plantation, Samuel?" "Well, no," he answered. "But if we're free, why do we get no say in what the rules are and how things work?" "I'm surprised at your ingratitude," Mr. Smith answered. "None of you know how a plantation is run, so you're in no position to be making decisions about how things are done here. You don't seem to appreciate all the things that Mr. Jones provides for you, from protecting you from all the outside threats you know nothing about, those who would come here, capture and enslave you if not for Mr. Jones' protection, to making sure that you all have food and housing, tools to work with, that you're cared for when sick and injured, and so on. There wouldn't be a plantation at all, no cotton to pick, no land to plant and harvest, if not for him. You should be grateful that he's made possible the level of comfort you now have. Your lives would be far worse if not for him. Nevertheless, as free and equal participants in this endeavor, from now on at each meeting, any worker may have 2 minutes to ask questions or voice suggestions or complaints. With that, the workers all seemed satisfied and headed out again to the fields to pick the cotton.
Day 4.
I have a big announcement, Mr. Smith said as the daily meeting began. Mr. Jones' cousin is here, and not just to visit and see how our project is coming along. It has been decided that from now on, you will be deciding who will manage the plantation. Of course, this job can't be done by just anyone, but every 3 months we will have a special meeting at which all the workers will vote on whether we think Mr. Jones should run the plantation or whether we think his cousin, Mr. Johnson, should run the plantation. That means that ultimately you are in charge because you will be deciding which man you want running things on your behalf. If you don't like the way things are being managed, you now have the power to change it. Amazed and pleased, the workers headed out again to the fields to pick the cotton. Days passed, months passed, a year passed, and the plantation continued to operate as before. Sometimes Mr. Jones was in charge, sometimes Mr. Johnson was in charge, but the day-to-day routine stayed exactly the same. The workers worked hard, long hours every day, and still had little to show for it. Every day the meeting would begin with them all reciting the Jones Plantation motto, "We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones Plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all." One day Mr. Smith announced, "Samuel is asked to say a few words this morning, and whatever the rest of us may think of his ideas and opinions, we are all free here, and that means we are all allowed to speak our minds. So, Samuel, you have 2 minutes. Begin." Samuel stepped forward, looking scared. "I was excited when all this started," he began, glancing nervously at Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones. "But don't you all see what's happened here? Nothing has changed. We're all still slaves." There were grumbles of disagreement from the crowd. "They tell us what to do and whip us if we don't. They still make all the rules and punish us if we disobey. They let us make suggestions and complain about things, but they never really change anything. They let us choose between Mr. Jones and Mr. Johnson, but what's the difference? The situation stays the same. We do all of the work and they take as much as they want and decide how much they'll let us keep. They live in luxury, made rich by the cotton we pick. We do all the work and have to build our own huts, grow our own food, and take care of ourselves. They leave us just enough that we don't revolt or run away. This is not freedom. We're all still slaves. They've only changed the words they use, but nothing else has changed. They say we're all free and equal, but we're not. They command and we obey. That's not freedom. That's not equality. They say we're free to leave, but all that means is that we're free to be someone else's slave. Why should we work or obey the rules? We didn't agree to this. They made the system. They forced it on us. They control and rob us and call it freedom. They've deceived you into thinking that being able to choose which slave master you'll work for is the same as being free. It's not. Open your eyes. If you keep what you produce, they call it stealing. When they take what you produce, they call it sharing and fair distribution. Can't you see that this is all? Your time is up, Samuel," Mr. Smith announced calmly. At his gesture, 2 supervisors grabbed Samuel by the arms and led him to the whipping post. "I'm sorry, Samuel, but you've broken the rules. There are rules against encouraging others not to work and encouraging others to break the rules. You're only hurting all of us with your discontentment and your complaining and your disobedience." The whip fell and Samuel let out a grunt. "Without rules, without order, all would be lost. Without law, there would be chaos. We can't just behave as wild animals, each doing whatever he pleases. We must all follow the plan and all do our duty for the betterment of everyone. And those who do not must be punished." The whip fell again and blood flowed freely from Samuel's back. "Samuel, it is you who are stealing from the others. When you don't do your assigned work, you are making more work for others. When you disobey the rules, it is you who are endangering the future of everyone else here. You are the thief. You are the criminal. You are the one trying to destroy the arrangement that keeps us all safe and prosperous. At every lash of the whip, the other workers cheered louder and louder, some yelling curses at Samuel. Being spoiled and selfish, you complain about everything, talking as if you're oppressed. But you are the one ruining things. You are the one keeping us from being all we could be. It is your greed and your rebelliousness that is hurting all of us. They all play by the rules, Mr. Smith said, gesturing at the others. What makes you think that you don't have to? You think you're above the law? There were loud yells of agreement as the whip fell again. We must maintain order, Mr. Smith proclaimed. To make this plantation great, to make it so that we can all be happy and prosperous. To have the society we want, there have to be rules. We all have to contribute our fair share to this great endeavor, and we cannot tolerate actions and attitudes that seek to undermine the amazing things that together as free men we have achieved and will continue to achieve. Mr. Jones was smiling as he gave Mr. Smith a pat on the back. The crowd was cheering so loudly that none of them had noticed that Samuel had died.
Oh, my bad. Let me turn my mic on. Come on, Pearlie. So, what I thought was interesting about that was how they describe, how things, basically how things work. How things have, they put these people in front of you. Nothing really changes, But that's why that's why voting is so important. Because we have the power to change things. But it's just, again, this election, it's good Lord. Like I said, when will it be over? Is it over yet? Does anybody know? No, it's not over yet. Marissa just said that whatever, Prop 207 in Arizona, I guess it's recreational. The recreational marijuana law passed. Hooray! Let me see. Is anybody even still watching? I might have lost everybody. What do you guys think about that? The Jones plantation. Very interesting. Heather says, no matter how you slice it, still rigged. So, and that's the basic, right? So that's basically what that story is about. Yeah, we're gonna. Okay, you're all free, but and then again, Mr. Jones. All right, now we're gonna get his cousin. And you can pick between Mr. Jones and his cousin. That's exactly what we got going on tonight. Trump and Biden. It's like Mr. Jones and and his cousin. The plantation master and his cousin. It's like the same thing. I thought that was funny. But yeah, again, and recreational weed. All right, that's Arizona. So that's I don't know. Anybody else get recreational weed? Why don't they just I don't understand. What's the big deal? Huh? Does it matter anymore? You think they would just go ahead and let everybody, since they're going to try and force everybody to get this, X-Men shot, try and alter your DNA. You figure they would just be nice and, let's legalize weed everywhere. Why don't they do No, Minnesota, they ain't having it. Yeah. You know, again, a lot of distractions. Like legal, that's what I mean. Like legalized weed is still a thing. I didn't, you know. I mean, out here in Arizona, they had, you know, you can the medical passed or whatever. You know, you can. It's pretty easy to go get a medical card. Anyway, but I guess the recreational is a big deal. Not for me, but I guess for some people. Oh, let's see. Let's see. What do we got going on? Let's see. I don't know, people. Let's take a look. I don't know. Should I even try and see what? Let's take a look. Let's see. Let's look on YouTube. Let's go to let's go to CNN. Let's see what CNN is saying. Let's see what CNN is saying about the election. What is this? Let me see. Live coverage. Live coverage. Let's see.
Imagine becoming an Amazon seller when their marketplace first started. Your store would have exploded.
Whatever, dude. Counting ballots in Pennsylvania. It's live. That lady back there is jumping around. She's
by
happy
building the
about
infrastructure of America in a green and resilient way, creating jobs and opportunity not only for jobs, but for equity, for ownership of companies that participate
I like what it says down
in
here.
all of that.
Results
with,
may not be final.
development, education.
See the latest on Google.
Train young people on how to not only aspire to that profession, but perhaps to some ownership. And for the people, we will talk
Enough of
about.
that. Enough of that. All right. My bad, y'all. So yeah, what do we know today? Little Pump went to a Trump rally. Anything else? Do you guys know of anything else? That's why I'm on TMZ. I'm like, there has to be something interesting like that happened. I don't know. Here we go. Offset. Offset feeding Atlanta voters waiting at the polls. Crunch and munch time. Offset's doing his part to help people exercise their constitutional rights by hooking them up with free grub. The Migos rapper hit up 3 polling locations Tuesday in wherever, Gwinnett and Fulton counties, with some major backup. Food trucks from the from the Slutty Vegan and Big Dave's, a couple of Atlanta staples famous for their cheesesteaks. Okay. Great. Good for Offset. Oh, man. I tell you.